好，各位来宾，我们今天呢要讲的是博士班生涯规划的第2场。那我们邀请的是我们优良校友，就是从成大建造所毕业的伊法瑞。那他是印尼的学者，目前任教于泗水大学护理学系助理教授。好，接下来我会用英文的来介绍他哦。Hi, dear all, welcome, especially for the participants from Indonesia. We are delighted to have you participate in our unique lecture. PhD career plan. We know in today's events, our participants are not only from Taiwan, also a lot of them are from Indonesia. So in this lecture series, we invited 2 speakers. The first one was done yesterday. Today is the second one. Then I will introduce today our speaker, Ferry. Ferry is our alumni from National Cheng Kung University, Taiwan Institute of Allied Health Sciences, College of Medicine, and his major is in nursing. At the present, Ferry is a faculty member at the Faculty of Nursing, University Erlangen. Also, he is the founder of Nurse Labor Market. And also, he is a 6th secretary at the Institute of Innovation, Press, Journal Development, and Intellectual Property Rights, Universal Erlangen. And okay, again, it's a pleasure to see you, so many of you here today. So prepare yourself to be excited and inspired. Though this is a virtual.
感觉要下雨了嘞，要下雨了。
那应该我还是可以继续进行。Ferry, somebody say it's raining outside. In Taiwan, it's hard rain. Okay, we are indoor anyway. So, okay, again, so this is a virtual lecture. We hope we can have some interaction to each other. So, can everybody see a smiling face at the button? 我们希望说这是一个虚拟的，虽然是一个线上演讲，但我们希望说跟讲者有一些互动哦。所以说，can you see the smiling face？ 然后呢，请你按下去，然后给我们演讲的同仁呢，老师一些掌声哦，这样子哦。所以你试试看 ，try please try. Can you see the smiling face with the plus sign on the button? Please try to click. There are a lot of choice you can use. Okay. Let's try to practice whatever you want. Okay, let's give Ferry a warm welcome. And let's welcome Dr. Ferry. Ferry, it's your show time.
Okay, thank you.
They are welcome you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much and very good morning from Surabaya City, one of the second biggest city in Indonesia. And firstly, let me express my sincere gratitude to National Cheng Kung University and all of the committee of this morning, Miss Moderator, Yang Du, and everybody here. And I'm very happy and honored to share and to talk with all of you about the career planning of PhD, and I hope we can learn and share together the journey of doctoral degree. So let me start with my presentation, and please kindly help Yang Du or someone else there to share my video. Okay, please go to the next slide, please. Go next slide, please. Okay. Yeah. So my name is Ferry. I'm teaching at Faculty of Nursing Universitas Erlangga, Surabaya, Indonesia. And then at this time, in addition to teaching, research, and also community services, I have an additional job to work at the Institute of Innovation press, journal development, and intellectual property right. Yeah, and actually writing and research is one of my passion. Yeah, so I have a hobby of reading. Yeah, so I read a lot. Yeah, and I do love reading every types of books. Yeah, and then this happened when I was on the undergraduate degree. Yeah, and later on I had joined some of the activities. Yeah, since my bachelor degree, and that activities actually make me made us a habit. Yeah, so my habit is one day I should read like 5 to 10 pages from one book. Yeah, and then I should finish reading one book every month. Yeah, so that habit really helped me to be what I am today. Yeah, so as you can see, this is my Sinta profile. In Indonesia, if we would like to see the performance of researcher, yeah, individually or institution, yeah, you may visit www.sinta-ristekdikti, yeah, or yeah, maybe the name of the URL slightly changes, yeah, because right now the ministry also having new names. Yeah, so the name is Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology. Yeah, and every 5 years, actually, the name is keep changing. Yeah, and you can visit Sinta profile to see the track record. Yeah, to see the publication activity, to see the research activity. Yeah, and also to see the score of its researcher. Yeah. And yeah, in Indonesia, every year they give a reward for the best researcher of Indonesia. And last year in 2020, yeah, I am one of the 500 the best researcher. Yeah, over 197,520 researcher in Indonesia. So this is one of the milestone, yeah, to me, yeah, and then I would be happy to share with all of you. So in addition, as a founder of one of the startup in Indonesia, we call it Nurse Labor Market. Yeah, we also developed another startup. Yeah, we call it Caregiver Elderly. Yeah, so this application actually helping some of the caregivers, yeah, how to take care the elderly, especially at the home setting. So next slide, please. Yeah, so I'm from Indonesia, yeah, because some of our participants today, I see, yeah, some from Taiwan, yeah, and some also mostly my student, yeah, from Airlangga University. And Indonesia is quite large, yeah, from east side to the west side, yes, and we also have 1,000 islands here. And next slide, please. Yeah, I am originally came from one of the city. Yeah, it's actually a small city. Yeah, located in East Java province. Yeah, the name of the city is Pasirian district. Yeah, or yeah, you may have known with Lumajang. Yeah, Lumajang Regency. Yeah, and this city actually quite far away from Surabaya. My office right now, yeah, it's around 180 kilometers away. And yeah, from this small city, I was born there, yeah, and I did my elementary school, junior high school there, and then moved to Malang City, for the senior high school, and got a bachelor degree in Surabaya City, but still on the same province, East Java province. Okay, next slide. And then I did my master and PhD degree in Taiwan. So Taiwan actually for me is my second home, and what can I say about Taiwan is Taiwan is the best country to me, because mostly I had been to another country like to Netherlands, to France, and then to Australia, to Canada, but to me Taiwan has a special memories, and also experience, So I would love to share with all of you the uniqueness of Taiwan. Next slide, please. So why I came to Taiwan, for master and doctoral degree, firstly, as you may already know that Taiwan is an innovative nation, So many innovation founded and developed in Taiwan, like maybe my computer like right now, I have Asus, and then 5 years ago I got Acer, and everything, MSI, mostly the well-known brand, and the best brand, in the world, created or made in Taiwan, Also, to me, Taiwan is the country that very friendly to the Muslim. In Indonesia, as you may aware that Muslim is a majority, of the population. So when firstly I came to Taiwan, we were becoming the minority, but Taiwan is very open, and also Taiwan is very nice, to all of the religion, and mostly they are very welcome to us, and also very helpful. So when firstly I came to Taiwan, most of my friends and also my landlady, told me that they already know that we cannot eat some type of food, like pork, or any other types, So they told us that you can go to this place, or you can eat to visit this restaurant, because they just serve vegetarian or vegan food, So everything was very smooth, and then for Muslim, Taiwan is very open and friendly, Okay, next slide, please. So instead of the innovation and also the openness of Taiwan, Taiwan also provide many scholarship, and then this scholarship actually give an equal opportunity for us, especially for me, came from the small village, in Indonesia, and I just know Taiwan from Google, from Yahoo, at that time, and I'm very curious, about studying and living in Taiwan, But when we ask students who already studied in Taiwan, and we ask them to share their life experience with us, mostly they got and supported by the scholarship, So the scholarship very diverse, many of scholarship provided by Taiwan government. So if you would like to seeking some opportunity, you may want to Googling, and try to use the keyword Taiwan scholarship, Next. Also, in Taiwan, yeah, we can we can get a scholarship from the university, yeah, like in NCKU, yeah, there are some types of scholarship, yeah, provided by the NCKU, yeah, such as NCKU Distinguished International Student Scholarship, and yeah, any other types, yeah. I think the support, yeah, or the facilities, yeah, very complete, yeah. Even if you cannot get the NCKU scholarship, yeah, you may get some stipend, yeah, you may get some money from the assistantship, yeah, or any other works that required by the and governed by the university, yeah. So like some of the student also instead of in addition to have or got the scholarship, yeah, they also work in Taiwan. So I think this is a kind of different experience, yeah, as long as you can manage your time, yeah. So for those who want to get any scholarship, yeah, from the government of Taiwan, they also made to consider the scholarship provided by the university, yeah. Okay, next slide. And to me, because I was working for the government, yeah, and a part of the government employee, yeah, the Indonesian government also provided many scholarship, yeah, and the name was PUDLN, yeah, beasiswa beasiswa bla bla bla, ya, untuk luar negeri, ya. So the name, but actually, yeah, because the name keep changes, yeah, every 5 years. So maybe the popular name right now is LPDP scholarship, yeah, and they have a quite a big quota, yeah, like per year is more than 500 scholarship provided by the Indonesian government, and this is actually a golden opportunity for us, yeah, to go everywhere, yeah, not only to Taiwan but also to another country, yeah. So for academia, yeah, for faculty members, yeah, I think your chance to get this scholarship very high, yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, I went to Taiwan with all of my family, yeah. So I have twin boys, yeah, and also my wife, yeah. My wife also graduated from the same school, yeah, and also the same advisor, yeah, with me. And my twin boys took kindergarten, yeah, kindergarten school, yeah, just next to my apartment, yeah. So yeah, we all went to Taiwan, and all of us, the status was international student, yeah, kindergarten student, and also the doctoral degree student. And yeah, it to me, bringing my family there is kind of privilege, yeah, and yeah, it was hard, yeah, it was tough, yeah, because yeah, we have to catch up with the assignment, we have to catch up with the school, yeah, and also we have to catch up with our twin boys development. So because mostly the school of children deliver in Chinese, yeah, and both of us, yeah, me and my wife, yeah, poor in Chinese, yeah. Even after many years, yeah, in Taiwan, yeah, we cannot read any Chinese, yeah. So yeah, we were very lucky because our friends, like some friends from doctoral degree, I can mention here is Pei Lun, and then Yurong, yeah, and then Nayu, yeah, yeah, they are very helpful. So when we came to Taiwan at the first day, they helped us to buy everything and take care of our family. Yeah, so that's the best part of Taiwan. Yeah, we really having a fully social support from our friends. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. And yeah, this is some of my experience. Yeah. Studying, and also bringing my family there, and one of the success factors, actually, your advisor, so that's why I recommend you must choose or get the best advisor. And to me, Professor Ching-Min Chen, is entitled as the best advisor, because Professor Ching-Min is really nice, really helpful professor, and I can communicate with her easily, through line, or through email, and also she's very beautiful, so to me, Professor Ching-Min Chen really inspired me. Even when she was very busy, she always have time to to answer my chat, or to answer my email, and also to allocate time to me. So I was really lucky, to have an advisor like such her. Okay, next slide. And this is our study group. So every professor in Taiwan, they also set up like a weekly or annual, not annually, monthly, weekly or monthly meeting, for the regular meeting to track the progress of each student. And this is my family. Pelun, and everyone there. They really helpful. And then we sometimes we are not only reporting our academic activity, but we also doing some fun, some games, and also we set up like social activity outside of the campus. So sometimes we visit Pelon, sometimes we visit Fiona in Taichung. I still remember. And then we visit each other a lot. And this is maybe only happen when we are studying in Taiwan. Okay, next slide, please. This is the halal food. So even I cannot read the Chinese. Maybe Yang Ru can help me. So this place was recommended by my landlady, because she told me that everything there is friendly for Muslim. So we went there frequently, and we eat a lot of healthy food. Like red rice, and then black tea, and tofu, soybean cake, and everything. So this is our favorite food. Sometimes we just visited there with our Taiwanese friend, and sometimes when we have a guest from Indonesia, we also bring them to this place. So this place is very famous also for Indonesian students. But for those who want to cook by yourself, I think you are highly possible to do that. Especially when you want to make up menu by yourself. Okay, next slide, please. Finally, I graduated from National Cheng Kung University in 2017. Yeah, and later, 1 year later, yeah, my wife also graduated from the same college. Yeah, and oh, sorry, the slide is disappeared. Can you please help? The slide is disappear. Okay, yeah, okay. And during my study in National Cheng Kung University, I got a lot of support, and actually the support, very helpful, for international students, So even I got a scholarship from Indonesia, they also provided me with some benefit, So the first benefit is a conference grant. So this is some money give to all of the international students who applied this scheme, So you can attend or you can visit international conference everywhere, the world. So by this scheme, I visited Sri Lanka, I visited South Africa, Canada, and also United Kingdom with the support from National Cheng Kung University. And also, if you get published at SCI or any Web of Science or IC Thomson's Index Journal, you will receive some incentive, some money from the faculty, So I still remember I got some, maybe 20,000 or something, amount of money from this kind of program, incentive of international publication. And also because English is not our main language, especially for students from Indonesia, we got also services, provided services provided by the language center, in NCKU. I think the price is quite cheap, and the price also covered by my advisor. So it is very lucky to get some benefit as international student. Next slide, please. So this is some tips for the PhD student here. So firstly, I would recommend everyone to manage your time wisely, because doing PhD is also a lot of hard work, a lot of assignment, and then you have to take care, or you have to manage your time very careful, And also the second one is you must to read a lot of papers, So I think this is the key for everyone, for every student to catch up with all of the target, especially if you want to graduate within a certain period of times, you have to do, or you have to make a habit of reading, and then write early on and write often, because writing is like a habit, writing is need a lot of exercise, so if you don't write early on, I think you will you won't achieve your milestone quickly, and also learn how to work in a group, like every professor in Taiwan, they have a group meeting, they have a study group to discuss and also to share, and also to give constructive feedback, for everyone, so this is like an exercise for us how to keep our mind open, and also have a big heart to receive any criticism. Yeah, and then focus on long-term goal. Yeah, instead of short-term pleasure. Yeah. Like I mentioned before, you may have offer to work in various settings in Taiwan. Yeah, but please remember that doing PhD and also graduated from the PhD program very soon, yeah, is your long-term goals. So keep in mind that yeah, you have to be consistent with this target, yeah, and you have to achieve this target wisely, yeah. And yeah, don't forget to have fun, yeah, especially for those who bring your family, yeah, because yeah, we know that every kids, yeah, every children, they also require our time, yeah, they also demanding, yeah, and you have to consider all aspect, yeah, especially on your family and also your academic life, yeah. But yeah, so far we did very full of fun, yeah, with our student, yeah. Next slide, please. So I did my PhD for 3.5 years, yeah, in department, yeah, in NCKU, yeah, and then I got published 4 papers in SSCI and SCI, yeah, and also during my study, I got a grant from Sumitomo Foundation Japan, yeah, also team up with my advisor, yeah, Professor Jingmin Chen, and I went to Japan to collect some data fully funded by the Sumitomo Foundation. Yeah, so this is a kind of opportunity for me, yeah, because I did my study in Taiwan, and also my research topic actually related to Japan, yeah, and then I went there with the support of Sumitomo Foundation grant, yeah, and this grant quite nice, yeah, because the money, you can spend the money quite flexible, yeah, and also you don't need to report the budget to the foundation, yeah. So for everyone who want to look at any funding, yeah, you may want to consider this grant, yeah. Next slide, please. So what about life after PhD or after doctoral degree? Yeah, I think, yeah, life is full of possibilities. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, life is full of fun. Yeah, and then yeah, there are many ways. Yeah, there are many activities. Yeah, many initiatives that we can do after holding a PhD. Yeah, and of course, because mostly for Indonesian, yeah, if you hold a PhD degree, yeah, you may easily granted as academia, or you may want to work in industry. Yeah. Next slide, please. So, in addition to have a PhD degree, yeah, I think you may want to assess who is yourself, yeah, who am I, yeah, and what kind of your hobby, what kind of passion, yeah, that you would like to develop, and you would like to acquire as one of your competency. Yeah. So this is, I think, really critical. Yeah. The critical point is you have to know what who you are, yeah, and then you have to increase or enhance your skills, yeah, also your value, yeah, and you have to expand your networking, yeah, like me. To me, having a good relationship with my advisor is a long term relationship, yeah, because after graduation, yeah, I'm still working with Professor Jingmin Chen, yeah, in certain project, yeah, and currently I'm also proposing the world class professorship, yeah, with with her also. Yeah, so it's kind of long-term relationship. Yeah, between individual, but the individual relationship really foster or enhance the institutional relationship. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, so having PhD, you may explore any possibilities here, yeah, because many opportunities, even the world having uncertain situation, yeah, like the pandemic COVID-19 right now, yeah, but still the opportunities is there, yeah. Next slide. So yeah, because I am working at the as the government employee, yeah. Right now I'm teaching at Universitas Erlangga, yeah. So in the world, yeah, we are ranked at 465, yeah, in Asia 113, and we are number 4 in Indonesia, yeah, and also number 19 in Southeast Asia. Yeah, I think graduated from prestigious universities such NCKU, yeah, give you a good CV, yeah, a good track record, yeah, and then you can apply for working at the best university in Indonesia. Yeah. Next slide. So yeah, actually being a lecturer, giving various benefit, yeah, for us, yeah, and if you hold a doctoral degree, yeah, as we understand that the doctoral degree is the highest degree, yeah, in academia. So yeah, this is very very helpful for us, yeah, and easy for us, yeah, to get on top at the faculty or university level, yeah. Also, being teachers means you are committed to continuing to do high quality research, yeah, yeah, even with the student or with any other collaborators, yeah. And yeah, as we understand that if you being on academia, yeah, the highest rank would be professor, yeah, and also in being professor in Indonesia is a privilege, yeah, and this is very prestigious and also very tough, yeah, and but by holding the highest rank of professor title, yeah, in Indonesia, you can yeah, give a significant impact, yeah, not only for yourself, family, but also for institution, yeah. Next slide. And yeah, after doing my doctoral degree, actually I did my postdoctoral degree in Australia in Lathrop University, yeah, and I tried to advance my knowledge, yeah, and my research, yeah, especially in using the secondary data, yeah. So I use secondary data from demographic health survey, yeah, and I learned a lot of doing analysis, yeah, and also doing writing, yeah, and many other academia activities, yeah, in Lathrop universities. And for conducting postdoctoral degree, I think you can get a scholarship, yeah, or you can get any support from various resources, yeah. Like me, I was granted postdoctoral degree scheme by Indonesia government, yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, you may also want to expand your roles, yeah, as a nurse, as a advocate, and also consultant, yeah. And this is also aligned with your expertise, yeah. Like when we are having a specific expertise, yeah, I think we can work together with a stakeholder, yeah. So every years in my research group or me individually, we work closely with the Ministry of Health, yeah, especially on the field of Indonesia nurses migration, yeah, how to set policy and how to facilitate smooth and positive migration between Indonesia and any other counterpart. Yeah. So, for example, this time Indonesia having a bilateral agreement for sending nurses with Japan. Yeah, and also Indonesia also having agreement, but not in bilateral way. Yeah, in private and government scheme. Yeah, with many other countries. Yeah, like Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, and Jordania. Yeah, and yeah, I think many countries joining. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, also you can work as a consultant, yeah, for international organization. Yeah, it's kind of a temporary job or maybe like a part-time job. Yeah, I was doing this when I just graduated from NCKU and waiting for the activation. Yeah, waiting for fully work at Universitas Airlangga. So maybe I just wait for 2 months. Yeah, and during that 2 months, I applied for another position. Yeah, as a consultant for USAID. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay. Any other opportunities is being a researcher. Yeah. So being a researcher meaning that you have to manage your own research project and you have to manage your resources wisely. Yeah. In every aspect. Yeah. Not only the human resources but also the budget. Yeah. But this is actually very challenging for us. Yeah, because we know that our workload quite high. Yeah, but yeah, simultaneously, yeah, we have to catch up with this role. Yeah, in managing our own research project. Yeah, so in my faculty, yeah, I did or I do some part of research project right now. Yeah. And then in addition of this, yeah, I also having additional tasks in university level, how to train the researcher and lecturer, yeah, and also how to encourage the faculty members, yeah, to develop innovation, yeah, and then to develop some intellectual property rights, yeah, and also how to create or develop strategies, yeah, to improve the reputation of the university. Yeah, so many things to do, and yeah, it's kind of learning process for me. Yeah, and it's give us a lot of insight and a lot of rich experience. Yeah, to work together in a team. Yeah. Next slide, please. And also, you may want to become an entrepreneur, yeah. And this kind of type of job, I think really promising, yeah. Especially on the pandemic COVID-19, yeah. I saw some innovation also appear on this period of time, yeah. And then being entrepreneur meaning that you may want to create one of the impactful program, yeah, or one impactful initiative, yeah, that having a lot of economic impact, yeah, to the society. Yeah. So since 2020, yeah, early 2020, yeah, we set up a startup. Yeah, we call it a nurse labor market with my friend Mr. Gading. Yeah, and then we work together how to help all of the nurses over Indonesia to find a job in nursing easily. Yeah, so this app is free. Yeah, you can download it and use it freely. Yeah, and all of the services also free of charge. So we have a spirit how to deliver the best services, yeah, and also the advanced technology to all of the fresh graduate in nurses, yeah, especially to let them know what kind of any available job for them, yeah, in nurses job market, yeah, and then they may want to apply the position, yeah, in every types of healthcare industry, yeah, and also they if they want to have a refreshment, yeah, or any additional training, yeah, we can provide them freely, yeah. So this startup actually being a firm, yeah, since this year, yeah, and then right now we are looking for the investor, yeah, to expand the startup, yeah, and yeah, we are very happy and we are very surprised, yeah, because most of the user, yeah, who downloaded and use these apps, they feel that this app very useful for them, and they give us some suggestion how to develop or how to get some improvement, yeah, yeah, on the menu or on the services side, yeah. Okay, next slide. Yeah, I think the most important thing for us is helping others, yeah, because like you may aware that, yeah, we are not alone, yeah, we live in the social community, yeah, and then if we help others, yeah, others also will help us also, yeah, and by helping others, yeah, even, yeah, in any position, yeah, you are maybe as yeah, faculty member, as engineer, as doctor, or any position, yeah, this is yeah, very meaningful, yeah, to have others and give a positive impact to your community and your environment, yeah. Okay, next slide. Yeah, I think yeah, starting from your position right now, even you are from the zero point, yeah, or you are a student, yeah, don't be afraid, yeah, because, yeah, many possibilities, yeah, many initiative, yeah, you may want to achieve, yeah, and it's depend on you, yeah. So I think the best thing is not only dreaming, yeah, about your life idea, about your target, but the most important thing is doing right now, yeah. If possible is yeah, just do it for starting from today, yeah. Okay, that's all from me. Yeah, thank you very much for your time, yeah, and your attention. And if you have a question, just feel free to ask me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ferry. Please give Ferry your gratitude. Okay, and now is the QA sections. So for everybody, you can write your question in the chat room, and or you may write in Chinese. We will ask your question for you. Okay, Ferry, first of all, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering, you have several students from Indonesia here. Could you introduce them to us? Are they college student or master student? Can they say hi to us?
Yeah, okay. I think I have master student and also undergraduate student here. Yeah, for master student is Made Uni, yeah. Made Uni, are you
okay.
with us? and also Devanga, yeah. Yeah, Devanga
Okay.
and Madi Uni is a master student, and others, I think, undergraduate student, yeah.
So some of them are undergraduate students.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. Welcome to NCKU channel. Okay. Yeah. Can you students say something to us? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should tell my student to say hi to your student.
Okay.
Okay. Tingyun, can you say welcome to them?
Hi.
She is our PhD students. Yeah.
Actually, I'm the classmate of Anna.
Ah, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we registered in the same academic years, so we took a seminar together before.
Ah, okay.
It's a union. Okay.
Yeah.
Is somebody have some question for our speaker today?
Okay, let me start. Let me ask the questions. So thank you give us a very inspiring speech for us, and I believe this speech will encourage the international students have a more interest to come to NCKU. From here, I would like to ask if you can share more experience about in your experience, how about the research environment difference between Indonesia and Taiwan in your experience? Is there any difference between that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I think the research environment between Indonesia and Taiwan, yeah, quite different. Yeah, because in Taiwan, yeah, as I understand, the professor, yeah, they really very specific. Yeah, so if they learn about maybe wound care, yeah, or maybe health policy, yeah, or maybe some specific expertise, yeah, they just keep in with that area, yeah, and the research expertise for its faculty member in Taiwan really supported by the system there, yeah. But in Indonesia, yeah, we do have a given research program, yeah. Like in Indonesia, we have a national research agenda, yeah, and then this national research agenda going down to the university people and to the faculty member. So the university and the government already set up the program and the topic for us. So we just follow the program and the topic, yeah, and adjust the topic so we can secure the funding, yeah. So I think that's the first difference, and then the second is the research ecosystem. Yeah, is really obviously different. Yeah, because mostly for us, research is like a new habit. Yeah, it's really different when you look at Taiwan, yeah, everything based on evidence, yeah, everything based on data, and the data is complete, yeah, the data is good, yeah, and the data is highly reliable, yeah. But the research ecosystem in Indonesia is still developing, yeah. So we kind of struggle to make this as a habit, yeah. Yeah, because many factors, yeah, like in my university, I think I don't have a problem with the funding. I don't have a problem with the policy support, yeah. But some of my friends in another university, they still struggle how to create a good or positive research ecosystem, yeah. And then the third is I think about the collaborative aspect, yeah, collaboration, yeah. the faculty member in Taiwan is having a smooth collaboration with all of the students, and actually this kind of a good example for us to follow, and then to replicate in our university. That's why since graduated, I also working closely with a student, from bachelor degree, master degree, and also doctoral degree. And also I set up my group meeting, weekly for me, when before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, I just set up in my free time. and this is a good example for me, because I can work with students, and then we can have mutual cooperation. They help us, and also we help us to graduate very soon, and then we can doing a research together, and then we can publish together. So I think that's some differences between between Taiwan and Indonesia in terms of the research.
Okay, thank you, Ferry. Is anybody have some questions? Okay, Nina, you have some questions for Ferry?
Oh, yes. Hi, Mr. and Fendi. Sorry, my video is, you can't see me because there's some problem with my video, so I just hope you can hear me. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, so I am a faculty in NCKU, and I used to work in the Office of International Affairs. So I have some question. Apart from your research, and I see you have some undergraduate students in this chat, in this panel. So what would you give them some advices if they, as a undergraduate student, they want to study in NCKU?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Nina, from the Office of International Affairs. I think OIA was very helpful for me and also for my family, and they provided a lot of support for international student. And my advice is for the especially for my student, I think actually I always encourage all of my students to study abroad, to pursue higher degree, especially for female, because mostly for nurses, majority or 80% we are female profession, and I should let them know that even they are female, but they have a right, they should have a life idea to work, and also maybe to study abroad, and Taiwan is to me is I always recommend it for them to go to Taiwan, and my advice to them is mostly in terms of the language, because language, especially English, is quite tough and also quite challenging, not only for the student, actually also for the faculty members, in order to secure the scholarship, they have to master English first, and then the second one is I think getting additional experience, such as publication, especially publication in high impact journal or Web of Science index journal, if possible, and this kind of activity will be a benefit, for them in terms of their CV, their curriculum vitae, and they may also have any other additional positive experience, to be included in the CV, and I think that's some of the points, yeah. And for my student, yeah, I always encourage them, yeah, in addition to English and also to publication, is working with its faculty members, yeah, because most of the faculty members also having a lot of research project, yeah, and by joining the research project, they can have different insight and different experience, and also this is a good platform for them to learn and share together. Yeah, maybe that's my answer, Nina. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ferry. Is anybody have some question for Ferry? Okay, Ferry, I still have some question for you. Okay, I'm very interested what you are doing now. I noticed in your slide, you in 2020, you are a founder of Nurse Labor Market, right? And also in your slide presentation today, you say you encourage our students to get the attention of policymakers. I was wondering because most of our PhD students, they take a lot of efforts in academic works. Very few of them can want to devote their time and efforts to public affairs. And who inspires you, and why you are inspired? So could you share something?
Yeah, I think my experience is quite unique, and working with policymakers, yeah, and also with the public affairs issues is for me. I don't have any barriers, yeah, because Anna, yeah, my wife actually the policymaker, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she worked at the Ministry of Health, yeah, at the like a middle position, yeah, and then we work very closely, and because we were on the same supervisor, yeah, and also we were on the same page, yeah. So we always rely on data. So like every years, yeah, we have a certain research project, yeah, which is funded by Indonesian government, yeah. So I always include Ministry of Health, yeah, to work with me, yeah, especially in my area. So because my area is international nurses migration, yeah, and also Anna area, so very closely to the empowerment of human resources for health to overseas, yeah. So we work together how to create the policy that supported Indonesian nurses, especially to the global market, yeah, because as you may understand that Indonesia having more than 1,000 nursing study program, and every years we have more than 150,000 nurse graduates. So with this kind of high number of graduation of nurses, yeah, there is also some problem with us with how to provide them with the job market, yeah, because we even estimated that the domestic job market cannot afford all of those fresh graduate in nursing, yeah. So one of the exit strategy is sending Indonesian nurses to abroad, yeah, and we work closely how to utilize them in global nurse market, yeah. So that's one of our activity, and then The second one, because mostly I use secondary data, from the Indonesian Demographic Health Survey, So some of our output, some of our product is also the policy paper or policy brief, So by having or by producing a policy paper and policy brief, we visit the stakeholder, in central government and try to convince them with the data, with the evidence, So I think it's kind of matter of investment, how to convince them and how to make a good relationship with them, because if they are trust with us, it's kind of a long-term relationship, with its stakeholder, and even if they have a problem, they always contact us and discuss with us, So this is a kind of mutual collaboration between academia and also another stakeholders, and I think one of the challenge of the researcher is how to create a product, or how to create a research that having a positive impact to the community, So it was coming on my mind, that if we created some product that available anytime, everywhere, and people easily access to our product, they will be very benefit for this, So that's my experience working with the public affairs and also how to delivering research into community.
Okay, thank you, Ferry, and thank you all the participation for all of you. And at the very end, I will like try to do some marketing. Okay, Tiyun, please show us our next coming event poster, and we have 2 speakers from international. So Ferry, you may paste this message to all of your students. Both of them are presented in English. The first one, can you make it bigger, Tingyun? The first one, 16 July. Yeah, make it bigger. He is Roy Chin. He is a head of discipline physiology in Western Sydney University, Australia. And his topic is identify and modify the fingerprint of cats for better health. And the second one is 20th of July. The speaker is Amar Parker, and he is a professor in clinical nursing, same as Ferry. So, and he's also coming from Department of Nursing, School of Health Sciences in Sweden. Okay, thank you all of you. Please join us next time. Okay, thank you, Ferry. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hey.
Thank you.
好，Thank you。好，谢谢大家，谢谢大家。我们7月16呢，还有7月12，还有另外2个演讲，希望同学呢，还有各位来宾可以再回来这个现场哦。好，谢谢大家。好，拜拜。
拜拜。
拜拜
，Ferry。
拜拜。
我们一起来个合照好，我们跟 Ferry 来个合照好了。好，停，把它记录下来。
停云照了吗
？Ferry, we are taking a photo group. A group photo online. Yeah, we will send to you. Yeah. If possible, can you call your student to open their video? 如果有我们成大的同学，你愿意开放镜头的话，也可以开。如果觉得自己仪容不整，也可以不开。可以开，谁想开的时候就开哦，没有关系。我看好像差不多了。
Mbak Made sama Mbak Mutia bisa dibuka videonya untuk foto bersama.
对，我们再等个10秒钟，10秒钟。 Hello. How to say welcome in Indonesia?
Ya, selamat datang ya.
Welcome. 我想庭云这样应该差不多了，其他人可能不开了。好，谢谢，我们就把这个画面记录下来。
I think it's okay. Yeah.
OK， 好，谢谢大家，拜拜。
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Hi, bye bye. Especially students from Indonesia. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Bye bye.